Before taking the largest stage in college football Saturday, the feared Northwestern defense had given up an average of just over 7 points in each of its first 5 games. But after a 96-yard J.U. Chesson kickoff return for a touchdown on just the first play from scrimmage, Michigan grabbed hold of a momentum that would lead them to 14 more points in the first quarter, sending a message that Jim Harbaugh's squad was ready for the prime time.
I got to give a ton of credit to Michigan. I thought they played very well, and I'm absolutely ecstatic to see Jake Rudock graduate.
In a nearly flawless performance, the former Iowa quarterback went 17 of 23 for 179 yards and rushed for 1 touchdown.
He understood how to pretty much manipulate us when we're too aggressive, and then also how to do so when we're too conservative.
But it was the feisty Michigan defense that stole the show. They held Northwestern to just 168 total yards of offense in their 3rd straight shutout victory.
And I don't think it was on Clayton's shoulders. Moving, you got to credit Michigan. And this isn't to discredit the job that Coach Harbaugh and his staff are doing. They're doing a terrific job, outstanding. But that's a veteran team we just played, and we got to learn from it.
The homecoming match with Iowa on October 17th will not be the battle of the undefeateds that Northwestern hoped for. However, the Big Ten West remains wide open for Fitzgerald's squad. From the Big House in Ann Arbor, I'm Noah Fromson, NNN Sports.
The security is so beefed up that you can almost smell ribeye steaks in the hallway, and the usual suspects are here. But aside from that, the administration has invited 23 guests to join Michelle Obama in the First Lady's box for the speech, and they've also chosen to leave 1 seat vacant to honor victims of gun violence and their families. And I'll be back here in Statuary Hall live after the State of the Union with reactions from candidates and congresspeople alike. Jesse?
Preceding Delaney was Ohio State alum and 2-time Heisman winner Archie Griffin. Griffin took the podium and thanked Delaney for making the Big Ten the #1 conference in the nation. For Sports Night, I'm Noah Fromson. After 4 quarters of poor offensive execution, Trevor Siemian and the Wildcats drove 74 yards down the field to tie the game at 10, or so we thought. The Illini have lost 3 of their last 4 games and will be playing without their top scorer and rebounder, Avante Rice. But Chris Collins is positive that this game will be no walk in the park. When Nebraska and Minnesota faced off last Saturday at TCF Bank Stadium, the Husker defense did not match the Wildcats with a shutout of the Gophers, but the offense did put up an impressive 464 yards in the 45-28 victory. And for a Northwestern defense that's been picked apart each of the last 2 weeks, those high numbers are exactly what they hope to avoid.
So we've been working tirelessly to improve on a lot of the mistakes that Iowa just pretty much utilized the entire game. And it's 2 mishaps the last 2 games, and hope to get back to playing the football that we intended to play at the beginning of the year. And we just got to be better at the point of attack, in which we improved on this week.
Gibson and the Wildcat defense have their hands full with a Nebraska squad led by Tommy Armstrong Jr. He guided the Huskers to a 38-17 homecoming victory at Ryan Field last October, throwing for 221 yards, rushing for 55, and even catching a 16-yard touchdown pass from DeMornay Pearson-L.
You got to be understanding of the situation and who you're playing. So a guy like him, he makes a lot of plays out of the pocket. And he'll escape to his left, but he's a right-arm quarterback. He's going to roll out that way, so you have to be disciplined in your rush.
When it comes down to it, we got to make plays with balls in the air, staying in coverage. You know, you're going to get the scramble, we're going to get the rollout, all that good stuff. But we're confident in our abilities and our talents.
And Igwe Buke is correct. The Northwestern defense is chock full of talent. But some fans and speculators fear a repeat of the 2013 Wildcat campaign, a disappointing season that began with a 5-0 record, but is remembered for the 7 consecutive losses that followed. But Godwin and Deontay both say with confidence they're not concerned with the past.
You know, we're facing adversity. Leadership obviously is very important. Coach Fitz and our leaders have done a great job of, not panicking. We've been here before. We know what we have to do.
We lost 2 games, yes. We remain 5-2 with a lot of our goals still ahead of us. We're just going to keep playing. We're not going to compare ourselves to a past team because a lot of the parallels we had in the beginning was the Gator Bowl team, but now we're getting parallel to a team that lost 7 games in a row. Choose your poison if you're a fan, but for us, honestly, we're just focused on the next game and playing our game and being this year's team, a great team.
Strategy aside, the defense took a precaution banning all religious activity this weekend. It wasn't official, but they don't want any Hail Marys.
It's that, it hits,
Does that Hail Mary ever creep into conversation?
I don't know what you're talking about. Just let flush it.
No jokes. No jokes.
Oops. From Welsh Ryan Arena, I'm Noah Fromson, NNN Sports. Last season, the women's basketball team was young and inexperienced, but full of potential. This year, the team is 13-3 and notched its first 10-game win streak since 1989. It seems like one offseason was just what the doctor ordered.
Having 7 starters back, experience-wise really helps you. And then, just the attitude and the energy coming off last year to, not settle and be really hungry. And I think that's where we are.
In the non-conference, we kind of handled our business this year, which is really nice to see. And we're just playing as a team. I mean, it really changes things when you have each other's backs on the court and off.
I think this year we've really done a much better job sharing the ball, taking care of the ball, getting better shots.
The numbers don't lie. The Wildcats have improved in every offensive category, and their assists per game average ranks first in the Big Ten and 12th in the nation.
A lot of unselfishness out there on the court, and we have a whole group of people who can go off on any night, which is really good because it's like one night it's me, one night it's Nia, it's Maggie, it's Lauren. You never know who it's going to be.
Coach McEwen's squad also started last season off hot, going 10-3 in 2013, but they followed that up with a 5-14 record in the months of January and February. This season's different. They've won 3 of their first 5 Big Ten matches, and they're committed to making sure that a slump like that never happens again.
Knowing our scout, it's a really big thing in the Big Ten to know the players that you're going up against and trying to shut down their 2 best scorers on defense. Just executing the game plan and using that experience that we gained last year and the beginning of this year to help us through.
There are going to be times where it's going to be tough, where we're going to be down or whatever it is. Like we started kind of slow out in that Michigan State game, but we came back and bounced back strong. And that's the important thing, is be able to bounce back whenever we have those slumps.
The Cats have a lot to prove, but they have 7 more weeks of Big Ten play to show that they're for real. I'm Noah Fromson, NNN Sports. We came here in long johns, but we're suited up for sports night, which starts right now. Northwestern volleyball knocked off defending champion Penn State 2 weeks ago, and it was legendary. We won't forget it. But excluding that win, the Cats are just 1-3 in October, playing with very little consistency. They look to gain some momentum in Friday's matchup with 19th-ranked Purdue. A group of scientists are looking to help those struggling with abuse using an unconventional lab that feels like home. NNN's Jesse Kirsch reports from the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, Maryland. You can ask anyone and they'll tell you the same thing. The worst possible way to lose a football game is on a Hail Mary pass, and last season at the hands of Nebraska, the Northwestern football team suffered that same terrible fate. Now 1 year later, the Huskers traveled to Evanston, where they met up with a Wildcat squad hungry for one thing: revenge. The men's soccer team is not making many national headlines with its sub-500 record, but in the Big Ten standings, the Cats rank 4th behind only Ohio State, Maryland, and Rutgers. They continued conference play against Michigan State Saturday afternoon. Starting with 7 points against Michigan State, 5 points against Illinois, 2 points against Michigan. The gap keeps getting smaller for Northwestern, but they just can't get over the hump. Last Thursday night, Coach Collins and the Cats went fisticuffs with the Buckeyes of Ohio State. Brandon, one lifelong fan, has waited 3/4 of a century to see his beloved Cubbies win. Our own Jacob Murphy has more. We're welcomed now by Daniel Rappaport of Inside NU, here to break down this Northwestern second half breakdown. But in order to have a breakdown, you need a build-up. How did Northwestern get off to such a hot start in the beginning?
How does that translate to the basketball court?
Well, some say I was the Larry Bird of my 7th grade JCC basketball league. I had moves like Jagger. Coming off a loss at Ohio State, the women's basketball team was back home Sunday to face Michigan State at Welsh Ryan Arena. A little shake and bake there from Coffey and Inman. Let's get going. Northwestern fell into a 14-5 hole, but they'd get out of that quickly. Stuff from Lauren Douglas, Ashley Deary, right to the promised land. She gets the 3-point play to make it 14-9 with 13:41 to go. Now, look at the ball movement here. Douglas, Roser, Deary, Butta. She hits the 3 to give the Cats a 7-point lead, 10:42 left in the half. Now Alex Cohn said, I want to get in on this. Hit me from the trifecta. Wets the tray, and that started a 10-0 run for the Cats. Deary now, she's going to get a bucket. She finished with 18 points. Northwestern led 44-29 at half. The lead would stretch to 18, but Michigan State was not done. Ariel Powers got the feed from Kennedy Johnson to make it 59-48 with 10 to go. But Powers, again, this time, make it a triple. Game high 24 points. She also finished with 7 dimes and 7 boards. 4 minutes to go, trying to seal it. Up and down, tough play to give the Cats an 8-point lead. Spartans were tough, the difference would shrink to 2, but Kristen Inman was not having it. Bucket, free throw, and can you get 3 dates for my friends? 72-68, Northwestern leads. And the icing on the cake, the ice in her veins, ice, ice baby, whatever you call it, Maggie Lyon drains the 3 and seals the victory for the Cats, 77-70. And I'm Noah Fromson. I brought corn to set. And it probably came from here, Lincoln, Nebraska, back for the first time since the heartbreaking Hail Mary, coming off 2 tough losses and trying to bounce back. First quarter, Clayton Thorson showed off his mobility in week 1, and he doesn't want anyone to forget it. Breaks a 68-yard run down the sideline, takes it all the way to the 2. Quarterback sneak a couple plays later, makes it 7-3 Northwestern. 5:19 left in the first. Thorson, too much time in the pocket. The safety brings Nebraska within 2. Huskers, deep in NU territory. Who's your daddy, Tommy Armstrong? Nick Van Hoos your daddy. 72-yard pick 6. He's barely touched on the return. A 14-5 advantage for Northwestern after the interception. But Nebraska doesn't lay down, especially not in front of Big Red Nation. Tommy Armstrong hits Brandon Riley with a 10-yard touchdown pass, cutting the lead to 2. Jack Mitchell added a field goal before the half. 9 minutes left in the third quarter. Armstrong doing what he does best. 4-yard touchdown on the ground. Huskers back on top, 19-17. Fourth quarter, Nebraska up 22-20. Thorson to Vitale, possibly his best pass of his career. 37-yard touchdown. Cats up 5. 4 minutes and change to go. Score now 30-22. Nebraska in the red zone. Tommy Armstrong, more like Tommy Legstrong. Am I right, people? Touchdown. Huskers down 2. You know what's coming. Conversion attempt. Armstrong drops back. His pass to Christian Jones falls incomplete. Cats regain possession. They never give it up. Northwestern back to its winning ways with a 30-28 victory. Our Alex Letterman has more from Lincoln.